Hi, welcome back to my channel. So we were talking about unmasking in the last video, and we're going to be talking about that some more. So after realizing that you've been masking, the scary next thought is, so do I just stop? What do I do? That's not exactly what unmasking is. So I'm Amanda Morris. I'm a therapist in LCSW, and I help autistic, AuDHD, and neurodivergent women recover from emotional abuse, relational trauma, and autistic burnout. So unmasking is not all or nothing. It is selective, and it's led by you feeling safe. So you decide where, when, how, okay? You start on the inside of yourself. So looking at what are your honest reactions to things. I mentioned this in the last video. What do you naturally feel or think in response to things? Taking a minute, taking a breath before you immediately respond, especially like in a social situation. Just take a minute and tune in with what is your natural instinct telling you to do. So that may or may not be what's considered socially appropriate, but you have to be able to figure out, based on the situation you're in, how much of a mask do I put on, and do I mask at all? Is that what's safest for me, or is it better for me and my nervous system to not mask and just be as genuine as I can be? So figure out what you feel and what you need on the inside before you actually start trying to change anything. Internal unmasking comes first, and that is within your control. Now, let's talk about asking for what you need. Well, if I don't know what I need, then I can't ask for it. If I can't name it, then I can't communicate it to other people. I can't communicate it to my partner, my family, my friends, my boss, my coworkers. So it's really important that you, at first, just work on trying to tune back into what feels natural and safe to you. And that can be challenging because as autistic people, that is not something that's necessarily easy for us. We start responding before we even know sometimes what it is we're feeling. Having needs, by the way, is not selfish. Now, some of us may have grown up, especially those in my generation, Gen X, there was no crying. You weren't going to get a lot of trigger warnings, and your feelings were just like, nobody cared, which is really sad. But hence why a lot of us are here in some of the situations and dealing with some of the issues that we are. But having needs is not a demand. It's a basic human thing. We all have them. And for high masking autistics, we are not good at identifying what we need. And therefore, people a lot of times have no idea that we need anything at all. It's sort of the iceberg analogy. You know, if you look at an iceberg, you can see what's above the surface, but most of it is underneath the surface. So then if nobody can see that, and we haven't really been looking at it, or we've been trying to suppress it, then how are we supposed to know what we need? So more on safety and unmasking safely. Some places it's just not safe to unmask. So for instance, that might be in a situation where you don't know anybody and it's very unfamiliar and you don't know what the social rules or the dynamics are. You might want to keep the mask on just until you get the lay of the land and you figure out, is it safe for me to drop that? Who is a safe person to unmask around? A lot of us have that intense fear of being seen, of being perceived. That's an autistic trait. And so it can be really scary to think about unmasking because that's like our biggest fear, right? That's the fear that if I unmask and people see who I really am, they're going to think I'm a freak. They're going to think I'm weird. They're going to know that I'm different. So identifying where do you feel safest to start unmasking, that would be a good place to start. So this is not something we have to do like all or nothing it's like literally ripping a mask off. It's a process, and you can take your time with it. So unmasking is something that I mentioned before in another video that I am still working on too. It's an interesting process, I'll say that. It can be scary. It sometimes feels like you are very, very exposed, and it feels strange to admit to these things that you need, that you have been suppressing and hiding. So that can make you feel extra vulnerable. So start with unmasking in situations that feel safe enough to do so. If any of this resonates with you and you are curious about figuring out your identity as someone who's come to recognize or been diagnosed with autism or AuDHD or ADHD, then I'd be happy to help you individually. I also am going to have a group called the Unmasking Group. It's going to be online, 10 weeks, no more than 8 women, starting August 6th. It'll be Thursday afternoons from 3 to 4:15 p.m. Central Time. And if you are in Louisiana, Florida, or Virginia, you are welcome to participate. There's a free 20-minute fit consult required beforehand. So just to make sure the group is a good fit for you and you're going to be a good fit for the group. And I also have intensives now that are half day, autistic, person friendly. And if you're wanting to do some deeper, more focused work, and weekly or bi-weekly therapy doesn't work for you for whatever reason, and you want to just kind of dig in for a few hours, that's what an intensive can do for you. So you can find all of that information at amandamorristherapy.com, and I will be back soon.